Hey everybody, what is going on? This is Anthony with the VR Game Rankings YouTube show, and of course, this is the daily vlog series. It is Wednesday, it's March 14th, and this is episode 118. And so as you guys know, every once in a while we are going to have a really slow news day with nothing going on, and we're going to end up with a relatively boring show. It is simply going to happen. We have to deal with it. I'll try to always do my best, but these things are going to happen. But the beautiful thing about it is it seems like when you have an absolutely horrible news day, sometimes things just work out for you the following day. And that is exactly what has happened. Do we have some news stories to get into today? We have some earth-shattering news in the VR gaming industry. This is the type of stuff that somebody like me, I dream of this. Every morning I love to wake up and have a beautiful show laid out in front of me like today's show. The last time this happened was all that Magic Leap stuff. We had that Magic Leap conference that happened, and then the next day I had that Magic Leap extravaganza, and this is kind of a similar thing. It is very fun to be able to do a show like today's show. So let's go ahead and get things started off. Now, what am I talking about here? What is the big deal? Well, the big deal is Skyrim VR. Just yesterday, I was talking about the Oculus top 40 most wanted games that we had updated on VR Game Rankings, and I was talking about how Skyrim VR was #1, and I mentioned, probably November 2018. I mean, that's what everybody assumed. We all assumed it was going to be a 1-year exclusivity window, but it isn't. It's a 6-month exclusivity window. And today we have found out that Skyrim VR is coming on April 3rd. It is coming on April 3rd. There's a Steam page. It's coming to the HTC Vive, and it supports the Oculus Rift. Well, at least it says that on the Steam page. And guess what, guys? Today is March 14th. This game is coming on April 3rd. We've only got 20 days, and we're going to be playing Skyrim VR on our HTC Vives and on our Oculus Rifts. This is a glorious day for all VR gamers around the world. It's also an absolute nightmare scenario for a lot of video game developers and publishers that were planning on bringing out a game in late March or early April, because I'm telling you guys, this changes the landscape. A lot of games are probably going to all of a sudden announce some type of a delay because it is not a good situation. You do not want to be in the crosshairs of Skyrim VR. It is not a good place to be. And, speaking of something like Arc Park is coming on March 22nd. How many people are going to want to spend $30 or whatever it is to buy Arc Park when they know in just like 10 days later, they're going to be getting Skyrim VR, and Skyrim VR is $59.99. This is a full price banger. Just like Fallout 4 VR, you are going to have to kick out the full 60 bones to go ahead and grab yourself Skyrim VR. And so a lot of VR gamers are going to be understanding that, and they're going to be saving their pennies. Skyrim VR is an absolute must-have. Everybody has to have it. And so purchases of other games like maybe Arc Park on March 22nd, some people are going to be like, the hell with that. I'm not getting Arc Park. I'm saving that 30 bones. It's going towards Skyrim. That's half of Skyrim. I'm saving my money for that. And then you have other games like Crisis on the Planet of the Apes, which I think is actually supposed to be coming on April 3rd, I believe. And that is a bad day to release your game. So there's probably a lot of corporate boardrooms around the entire world. Any VR publishers, VR gaming companies, they were planning on releasing their game later this month in March or very early in April or even mid-April. And now all these people are like, shit, what do we do now? Are we going to delay our game for a couple of more weeks, kind of get out of the wake of Skyrim VR, because even after it comes out, you still want to kind of stay away a little bit. So we had all these games that were coming in spring and early summer, and this is going to kind of shake it up a little bit. And so, you know, I'm not sure what's going to happen, all of that. But let's go ahead and get into a little bit of some Skyrim VR talk briefly. It's interesting because I had the PlayStation VR version of this game, right? I got it right away. I bought it right away. I was playing it right away. And I loved it. I loved Skyrim VR on PlayStation VR. I thought they did a masterful job. I mean, obviously, it was hamstrung in a lot of different areas just from the standpoint of the control scheme. But Bethesda Game Studios, they did the best that they could do. You know, they were working with these Move controllers and, of course, the DualShock and all of that. And they had to try to do the best that they can do. And honestly, I think they probably did as well as you could possibly do. And the game runs well on PSVR. It works well. It looks good. It's Skyrim. You know, it's just an awesome situation. Probably the best PlayStation VR game there is. But I was playing it for a little while, and then Fallout 4 VR came out, and then I started playing Fallout 4 VR, and I was like, you know what? I can only play one of these two games at a time. I can't be playing both of them. They're too similar. You know, the mechanics are so similar. So I decided to sell my copy of Skyrim VR. I actually had a physical copy of Skyrim VR. Here's a little shout out to physical copies still existing. I was able to sell my Skyrim VR and still get like 40 something bucks for it or whatever it was. And I told myself, you know what? I'll revisit Skyrim VR a little bit later on down the line when I'm not actively playing Fallout 4 VR, where, well, this is a dream come true for me because I barely scratched the surface of Skyrim VR on PlayStation VR, and now I'm going to be able to get to play it on a PC VR platform. I'm going to be able to play it on the Oculus Rift. Everybody can play it on the HTC Vive. This is going to be a beautiful thing because you know what? It's going to be let out of jail. Skyrim will be let out of jail from the standpoint of the controls. The controls on PSVR are a bit hampered, and having pinpoint tracking and pinpoint accuracy, having room scale capabilities, and then also having better quality graphics and sound. Well, I don't know if the sound's going to be any improved, but better quality graphics on the PC VR platforms. This is nothing but a beautiful situation. This is a glorious day in the VR gaming industry. We all need to celebrate this. This is going to be incredible. I'm very much looking forward to this because Skyrim VR, I mean, it is an awesome game on PSVR. It's going to be even better on the Rift and the Vive. So this is obviously the #1 story. I mean, only 20 days away. Can you guys imagine that? And again, I wonder about all these games that were planning on coming later in the month of March and very early in February. They pretty much need to get the hell out of the way is pretty much what I'm going to say. Delay your game by about 2 weeks. You'll thank me later. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into story number 2. And so story number 2 is Virtual Reality Football Club. So this game is available. Did you guys know that? There's not that much hype that is going on surrounding Virtual Reality Football Club. I'm a bit surprised by this. Looking at the Vive subreddit, looking at the Oculus Rift subreddit, not a lot of discussion. You know, there was a couple little threads here and there, but not a tremendous amount of discussion. I thought this would be a much bigger deal. This is the first football/soccer game, the first legitimate football/soccer game that we have in VR. Now, obviously, this game did hit PlayStation VR on March 6th, and we were kind of wondering what is going on with the Oculus Rift version and with the HTC Vive version. And if you went to the Steam page, there was no date. Cherry Pop wasn't really saying anything about it. We only knew about the PlayStation VR version, and so I kind of assumed, I'm sure a lot of other people did, I kind of assumed that maybe this had like that 1 month exclusivity thing that a lot of PlayStation VR games seem to have, where they come out and there's like this 1 month delay. It's obvious that Sony has some kind of deal set up. We saw this happen with Apex Construct, exactly a 1 month delay. This has happened a number of times with various PlayStation VR games that have then come to the HTC Vive and the Oculus Rift. So I kind of thought that was the situation, but obviously that isn't the situation. Virtual Reality Football Club came out yesterday on March 13th. And luckily enough, I did reach out to Cherry Pop Games. They did hook me up with a review code for this game. Now, I have to say, I played it a little bit this morning, but I have barely scratched the surface of this. So this isn't even really a first impression, really. It's kind of like 25 minutes of being in the tutorial impression is basically what I have for you in regards to Virtual Reality Football Club. Now, you might remember way back when I first reported on this game, I was talking about how they had this unique motion control system, and I was kind of wondering out loud how exactly they were going to do this. And I thought maybe based on the way, you balance yourself when you're about to kick or something, that somehow it was going to analyze that and it was going to determine your kicks. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, because that is not even close to what's going on in this game. But the control scheme, is a bit of a conundrum for this game. I mean, this is obviously going to be the hardest thing that Cherry Pop Games is going to have to deal with in regards to Virtual Reality Football Club, because I gotta say, the controls are difficult. The controls have a major learning curve. You are not going to fire up this game and be scoring goals and passing the ball to your teammates with incredible accuracy very quickly. That is not going to happen. You're going to have to take some time. You're going to have to learn these controls. You're going to have to show some patience. So today, when I jumped into the game, I went through basically a tutorial that is built into the game. And the tutorial was logical. It made a lot of sense. Everything worked out great with the tutorial. But there's just so much stuff to kind of absorb and understand while you're playing the game that it does make it a little bit more difficult. It makes it a little bit more difficult when you have to learn all these different button presses and combinations and try to remember it on the fly while you're actually playing the game. And so I went through the tutorial maybe 3 or 4 different times. I went through the entire tutorial and I repeated it, went through it again, repeated it, went through it again. Now I do have a basic grasp of how the controls work for this game, but I'm still not fully dialed in on the game yet. And then the other major issue that you have to concern yourselves with Virtual Reality Football Club is they don't really have a single player mode. There is no single player mode in this game. They don't have like bots, for lack of a better term, in terms of being able to play other computer players and pass to other computer players and try to simulate some version of a soccer game with computer controlled players. Virtual Reality Football Club does not have this. Why it doesn't, I'm not exactly sure. But what they do have kind of a training mode, which if you go into the training mode, if you go to the most basic version of the training mode, it basically just pops you back into the original tutorial. But if you go into the medium training mode or the expert training mode, it has a couple of other things that it brings out there for you. And then the other thing is, if you want to get into an online match, what you can go ahead and do is you can sign in and kind of start the process of doing an online match. You can create your own online match, and then while you're waiting for other people to come into your lobby, you can go to the pitch and start kicking the ball around and start screwing around on the pitch while you're waiting for other people to come into your game. And so that's kind of the situation that's going on with Virtual Reality Football Club. Now, what am I going to say about the game just in my little 25 minutes with it? Well, I can tell you guys a little bit about how the controls work, because you're probably wondering, how the heck am I going to play a soccer game when I don't have Vive trackers on my feet? I'm holding 2 controllers and I have my headset. How are they going to do this? Okay, so basically the way it works is, to run around in this game, all you do is this. Just like Sprint Vector, all you do is this, but you don't have to hit any buttons. All you have to do is this, and you do a normal run. Now, if you want to sprint, you do this and you hold down the triggers at the same time, and that is your sprint. But you have a certain amount of stamina, so you can't just sprint everywhere. You got to be cognizant of that. And then the other thing is, well, how do you like reposition yourself? Well, there is a strafe ability. If you hold down, now I was playing this on my Oculus Rift, of course, so I'm not sure. I'm guessing on the Vive, it's a similar thing. You hold down the grip button, and if you, like, for example, on my left controller, if I hold down the grip and I go like this, I strafe over that, I strafe to the left. If I hold down the grip on my right controller and I go like this, I strafe over there. And depending on how fast you're doing this, you'll move farther or you'll barely move depending on how much you're doing it. And so one of the biggest issues I had with the game was trying to kind of stay in front of the ball and figure that out. But you can run backwards. Like if you hold both of your grip buttons and go like this, you'll run backwards. There's a lot of different controls. And then you might be wondering, well, how do you like kick the ball? Like, how does that work? Well, the way it works is you have hands and you have feet. And so you'll see your hands and you'll see your feet, like they're represented in the game. And basically your controllers become your feet. So if you kind of angle your controllers in different ways, your feet kind of angle themselves in different ways. And so you learn how to kick the ball. You can hold the trigger down and then you kick the ball. Your shoe turns red and that's how you shoot. And then pass, I think there's a button actually you use for pass. Again, I've barely scratched the surface, but I gotta say, I really like what I've seen so far, but I'm so far from like knowing these controls inside and out, and that kind of will make or break this game. And then also the online participation is a big deal. This is one of these games, we've seen it with VR so many times that if you don't have a vibrant community of people that are jumping in on a regular basis, you don't have a game because you don't have anybody showing up. That's probably the biggest issue here. Now, there is cross-platform play between PlayStation VR players, Oculus Rift players, and HTC Vive players, so that should help things out. I like what I've seen so far. I'll definitely have more first impressions of a virtual reality football club. This, of course, is coming from Cherry Pop Games. These guys are the makers of Sports Bar VR, which is very well loved in the VR gaming community. Lots of people love Sports Bar VR, and this is their next game. I think they've done some pretty good things with this. This is still in early access, and they're continuing to work on this, so it's not like this is a final locked-in thing right now. But I kind of like where it's going. The price of this game is, the regular price is $19.99, but right now it does have a launch sale for $13.99, and so everybody just got that Oculus credit for $15. So it's pretty good timing for Cherry Pop Games. And you know what? That actually brings us to story number 3. Okay, story number 3, I can obviously talk about this, about how everybody in the Oculus land got $15 handed to them yesterday. That was obviously a glorious thing for all of us to get that $15 credit for, one day of the Oculus 2018. Not that big of a deal, and we get $15. That's a wonderful thing. But how I'm gonna talk about this story is, man, I feel for my guys at House of Secrets, the developer of Ken. They got screwed again. They missed it by that much, you know what I mean? Because they had their daily deal on the day of Oculus 2018. That was the day of their daily deal. So they got a second chance. They got another daily deal, and that happened on Tuesday. That happened yesterday was their daily deal, or no, it was the day before. It was Monday was their daily deal, right? But nobody had that $15 credit in their account. Imagine if everybody got that $15 credit on Monday. I'd have to imagine a lot of people would have jumped on Ken for $7.50, half of their credit, getting it for free and still having another $7.50 left over. But of course, that daily deal expired, and House of Secrets, I feel bad for these guys. They missed out again. But you know who took advantage of it? Mixed Realms. Yeah, Sorrento VR was the daily deal yesterday. I'm sorry I didn't report on this yesterday. I should have. This was another topic I just completely missed. And so a lot of people went ahead and grabbed Sorrento VR, which was marked down to $19.99. A lot of people had this $15 credit, and then they just add another $5. Bam, they got Sorrento VR on a great deal. And you know what? I had followed Sorrento VR for the longest time, and I don't believe I've ever seen this game for $19.99. It's always been a little bit of a higher price game. Even when it went on sale, it was still in like the low 20-ish dollar range. I'm not sure it's ever been $19.99. So that was a great opportunity for everybody to pick up Sorrento VR. Obviously, that daily deal is long over with. Now, I looked today to see if there was a daily deal. I couldn't find anything. So I don't know if there is a daily deal today, and I just didn't see it, but I went to the Oculus store, I went to their experiences area, and I did not see anything on a daily deal today. So not sure if there is a daily deal today. But what I can tell you there is Oculus Store is doing something relatively interesting right now, and it's called Duo Packs. So Oculus is offering these special Duo Packs, and what it is they're pairing two different VR games together for one solid price, where you're basically almost getting one of these games for free, and then you're paying for the other one, or you're getting the other one at a discount and then also getting the other game for free. And I can give you guys some examples of what I'm talking about. So one of the Duo Packs is Arizona Sunshine and Super Hot for $29.99. That is a hell of a deal. I think Arizona Sunshine actually costs more than $29.99. So you're getting a discount on Arizona Sunshine, and you're getting Super Hot thrown in for absolutely free, or, you know, depending on which way you look at it. But that is a great deal, and it is one of the best selling Oculus titles right now. This combo deal is selling very well, and I don't think there's any surprise there. It should sell well. That is a great deal. Some other examples: Eve Valkyrie and Sprint Vector for $29.99. That's a pretty decent combo. Spark and Onward for $29.99. That's a solid combo. The Climb and Job Simulator for $29.99. That's actually a great combo when you consider that The Climb has a new lower price. It is now $39.99. Yeah, that's the new lower price for The Climb. I still feel like it's a bit overpriced. Remember, The Climb was like crazy expensive when it first came out. It's been crazy expensive for a long time. It is now dropped to $39.99. Yeah, let's all celebrate and use all that extra money to go out to dinner and just have a wonderful time with all the money we're saving getting The Climb at $39.99. But, you know, it has dropped in price. But you consider this Duo deal, you're getting another 10 bones off of that, and you're getting Job Simulator thrown in 100% free. That is a pretty good deal. Another example of one of these duos is From Other Suns and Table Tennis VR for $29.99, Raw Data and Box VR for $29.99. So this Duo deal that Oculus has out there, I think it's a great concept, a great idea, especially if you pair two pretty good VR games together and you kind of package it with a nice price. It's a great way to go, especially for anybody that is a brand new Oculus Rift owner. This is a great way to grab a couple of really key games for a very decent price. So we got to like these Duo packs. And then before we get out of here today, I know we're running just a little bit long on all of this stuff, but before we get out of here, I got to mention one more incredible deal. And this is for everybody that is a PlayStation Plus member. And if you have a PlayStation VR, sit down and strap yourself in, because you can get Archangel for $6. Archangel for $6. If you are a PlayStation VR owner and a PlayStation Plus member, Archangel is only $6. How incredible is that? And the price is good until March 27th at 8 a.m. I'm assuming Pacific time, but not really sure. But the price is good for a long time. Now, if you're not a PlayStation Plus member, well, it's $12 for the rest of us. Like, I'm not a PlayStation Plus member, so I'd have to kick out $12. But even $12 for Archangel. Archangel is one of the most criminally underrated VR games I've ever seen. I mean, I think it's an awesome game. Yes, the game is on rails. And so a lot of people are boo-hoo-hoo, the game is on rails, but it's a fantastic game. The fact that it's on rails, they're able to do a lot of different tricks of intertwining the story and kind of having these different scenarios that are timed, and they happen depending on where you're looking, and they can add so many visual effects that they add to it and just make it look so much better. Archangel for $6. Cannot say that I mean, that is just an incredible deal. If you are a PlayStation Plus member and you own a PSVR, you are criminally insane if you don't buy this. Like, straight up. This is how we figure out who on planet Earth is criminally insane. It's all the PS Plus members that don't buy this, because that is a screaming deal. Alrighty, folks, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up. This has been the VR Game Rankings YouTube show. Of course, this has been the daily vlog series for Wednesday, March 14th, episode 118. It is now in the books. A lot better news, I think, a lot better discussion that happened today compared to yesterday. This is how it works sometimes. And I, of course, will see everybody tomorrow on Thursday. So everybody have a wonderful Wednesday. Maybe some of you might want to buy some virtual reality football club. You might see me on the pitch tonight. If you do have that game, I'm going to be trying to get into some games and try to learn how to play that game and get a better feel for it. But anyway, I will see everybody on Thursday. So take it easy. Later.